Directors, Wes Craven, 1977, and Alexander Aya, 2006. This movie was inspired by a story dating back to the 17th century in Scotland. A family of 48 people ambush travelers on the roads with the aim of killing and eating them. Coming up next, terrifying movies that were based on real stories. Get ready to be spooked as we dive into the dark world of murders, paranormal phenomena, and other disturbing tales. These films prove that reality can be more frightening than fiction. Stay tuned. Director Brad Anderson's film, Session 9, draws inspiration from the real-life Danvers Psychiatric Hospital in Massachusetts. The abandoned 19th-century building was known for being one of the most haunted places in America. In My Friend Dahmer, director Mark Myers tells the story of Jeffrey Dahmer's teenage years, before he became a notorious serial killer and cannibal. Dahmer killed and ate the bodies of 17 young men. In 1974, a man committed a horrifying crime in his family home. The Amityville house where it happened was later sold to the Lutz family. They too experienced a terrifying nightmare in the same house. The 1979 film, The Amityville Horror, tells the story. In director Irvin Uwertha's 1958 horror classic, The Blob, a terrifying lavender-colored gelatinous mass terrorizes a small town. But did you know that the movie was actually based on a real-life news item? In 1950, two policemen in Philadelphia stumbled upon a similar blob in a field. Spooky. In a surprising revelation, the most famous cannibal in cinema, Hannibal Lecter, is based on a real person named Ed Gein. Gein had a bizarre fascination with human skin, and inspired the character portrayed in The Silence of the Lambs, 1991. Director Joe Berlinger's new film, Extremely Wicked, Shockingly Evil and Vile, retells the love story of notorious serial killer Ted Bundy and Liz Kendall. Bundy's good looks and charm aided in attracting many female victims to his murderous ways. Don't miss this thriller. In today's entertainment news, we have an interesting backstory to the classic horror film, Scream. Director Wes Craven was inspired to create the movie after a real-life tragedy in Florida, where a man killed 5 students. The incident happened in 1990 and led to the creation of the iconic slasher movie. Today we bring you the chilling true story of Sarah Winchester and her mysterious mansion. After her husband's death, she expanded the home with strange rooms that seemed useless. But they had a dark purpose, to lock up spirits killed by Winchester's weapons. The Winchester Curse is a must-see for horror fans. Directed by Michael and Peter Spyrig, it's sure to leave you on the edge of your seat. Director, Olatunde Osunsami. The story is based on the successive and mysterious disappearances of 10 people in Alaska since 1990. Director T. West's 2013 film The Sacrament is a reimagining of the brutal murder of Leo Ryan. Ryan was investigating the People's Temple sect in 1978 when leader Jim Jones killed him. The film explores the disturbing events leading up to this horrific act. The Conjuring, directed by James Wan, also known as The Warren Files, is based on the true story of American demon hunters, the Warrens, who tackled over 4,000 paranormal cases in the 1960s and 1970s. The Conjuring 2, directed by James Wan, is a film based on the real-life experiences of a single mother and her 4 children who were terrorized by evil spirits. This is one of the most disturbing cases investigated by the Warren couple. The 3rd installment of the Conjuring franchise is out. The Devil Made Me Do It, directed by Michael Chavez, brings us another spine-chilling Warrens case. This time, a boy falls under a demon's control, leading a man to offer his body instead. The aftermath is a sensational court case, the first in U.S. history where a murder suspect claims demonic possession. Psycho, directed by Alfred Hitchcock, explores the twisted mind of a serial killer who impersonates his dead mother. Inspired by real-life killer Ed Gein, the classic film delves into their disturbing relationship. A must-see for fans of thriller and horror genres. New movie alert. Deliver Us from Evil, based on real events. It follows Ralph Sarchie, a former soldier turned detective, and a priest investigating demonic possessions. Directed by Scott Derrickson, it's sure to be a thrill ride. A woman in the 1970s was regularly attacked by supernatural beings until she became pregnant. Her children and neighbors witnessed the spirits too. This strange story is the basis for the horror movie The Entity, directed by Sidney J. Furie in 1982. In 1976, Anneliese Michel underwent 67 exorcisms in just 10 months. The experience was so grueling that she didn't survive. The story is portrayed in The Exorcism of Emily Rose, 2005, directed by Scott Derrickson. The creepy doll from the horror movie Child's Play is based on a real-life doll named Robert. It's on display at a museum in Key West, but people say bad things happen to anyone who takes a picture of it. Welcome to the latest entertainment news. Alejandro Amenabar's 2015 film, Regression, takes a dark look at satanic rituals from the 80s. The film follows unsettling cases of abuse against women and infant sacrifices. A thrilling and frightening film that will keep you on the edge of your seat. A new movie called The Strangers is based on true events where intruders broke into a house and killed their owners. Some of these cases include the infamous Manson family and the lesser-known Ketty Cabin murders. The movie director is Brian Bertino, and the culprits of some of these cases were never found. Annabelle, 2014. In 1968, two women noticed their doll moving without being touched and called a psychic. It was concluded that the doll was possessed by a girl's spirit. Director, John R. Leonetti. Today we're talking about the classic horror movie Poltergeist and its inspiration. In 1958, the Herrmann family experienced strange activity in their home, which caught the media's attention. This story inspired the directors of both the 1982 and 2015 versions of the movie, Tobe Hooper and Gil Kenan. In The Mothman Prophecies, director Mark Pellington explores the urban legend of the Mothman, an apparition that foretells death. Witnesses in the 1960s claimed to have seen the Mothman before a bridge collapse in West Virginia, which killed 46 people. In the 1984 horror classic, Nightmare on Elm Street, the screenwriter found inspiration in a tragic news story about a little boy in Cambodia who refused to sleep. The boy believed he would die in his sleep, and when he finally fell asleep, he never woke up. It's a haunting tale that still resonates with audiences today. In 1986, a family moved into a Connecticut home that once had been a mortuary, and allegedly experienced paranormal activity. Famous exorcists performed an exorcism, but this story has since been debunked and cannot be called true. Spanish film Veronica, by Paco Plaza, portrays a police report from early 1990s investigating the death of a teenage girl who, reportedly, used an Ouija board and subsequently experienced supernatural events. In Wolf Creek, 2005, directed by Greg McLean, three friends experience car trouble during a road trip in Australia. A stranger offers help, but his intentions are deadly, based on the true story of a couple attacked by a murderer after their car broke down. The 2007 horror film Blackwater, directed by Andrew Trocchi and David Nerlich, is based on the real-life crocodile attacks in the Australian mangroves. Watch as the thriller unfolds with terrifying scenes that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Today we're talking about a movie that was inspired by a true story. The Serpent and the Rainbow is a horror film directed by Wes Craven. It's based on the book Confession by Wade Davis, who studied voodoo practices in Haiti. The story follows the zombification of former slave Clervius Narcisse. The 2003 movie Open Water, directed by Chris Kentis, tells the story of a couple left behind during a scuba diving trip on the Great Barrier Reef. They must survive in the open ocean with no rescue in sight. Director Courtney Solomon's An American Haunting delves into U.S. history's first convicted murder by a spirit. The 2005 film recounts the chilling tale of America's alleged first recorded paranormal homicide. In the spotlight today, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The 1974 and 2003 films were inspired by notorious serial killer, Ed Gein. He was found to have made various objects from human skin in his home after his 1957 arrest. Today we have a chilling true crime story to share with you. The Girl Next Door is a film based on the murder of Sylvia Likens, who was kidnapped and brutally beaten to death by Gertrude Benasuski. Director Gregory Wilson brings this haunting story to life on the big screen. Director Steven Spielberg's 1975 hit movie Jaws was based on a true story of several men attacked by a shark off the coast of New Jersey in 1916. At that time, people dismissed the idea of sharks and chose supernatural explanations instead. Breaking news: The Last Rite, 2009, directed by Peter Cornwell, is a chilling portrayal of the Snedeker family's alleged encounters with the paranormal. Loosely based on the real-life events in Connecticut, this TV movie will keep you on the edge of your seat. David Cronenberg's 1988 film, Dead Ringers, is based on the true story of twin gynecologists who were found dead in their Manhattan apartment. The director explores the complex relationship between the twins in this psychological thriller. Director Michael Hafstrom's 2011 film, The Rite, is inspired by journalist Matt Baglio's investigation into Vatican-ordered exorcisms. Get ready for a spine-chilling story. Director Zev Berman Borderland is inspired by the stories of Americans going to Mexico to party who then disappeared. The Silent House, a Uruguayan film directed by Gustavo Hernandez, is based on the gruesome true story of two men found mutilated on a farm in the 1940s. Their tongues had been cut off. A chilling tale sure to keep you on the edge of your seat. Director DJ Caruso brings us The Disappointments Room, a film that explores the dark history of rooms where aristocrats confined children who were sick, disabled, or mentally ill. The Shining was directed by Stanley Kubrick, inspired by a man who worked in the haunted Stanley Hotel in Colorado. The hotel is said to be haunted by prankster spirits, according to multiple testimonies. Director Tom Elkins. The film takes up the story of a couple who moved into an old house near a hospital to have their sick son treated there. During their stay, weird apparitions took place in the house. Coming up next, Shadow People, a chilling movie directed by Matthew Arnold. Based on reports of supernatural apparitions seen worldwide, these beings have been described as black masses with red eyes and human shapes. Prepare to be scared. The movie The Paranormal Diaries, Clophill, 2013, depicts a haunted church where black magic rituals were once performed in the 1960s. Now abandoned, many investigators hope to capture supernatural occurrences. In 1874, a psychiatric hospital opened with mysterious happenings. Some say the tormented souls of patients still inhabit the hospital. The Ridges, a film by Brandon Landers, tells the story. The hospital's admin building is now the Kennedy Museum of Art. Photo by Leslie K. Delavade, library.byways.org. In 1970s, researchers tried to create a ghost with theory that negative emotions can lead to supernatural manifestations. Watch The Quiet Ones, directed by John Pogue. Londoners experience disturbing phenomena after bringing an abandoned Victorian-style mirror to their apartment. The Mirror is a horror movie directed by Edward Bowes and based on real events that occurred in 2012. Director Sean Stone, son of Oliver Stone, wrote and directed the film Greystone Park. He based the script on his visit to the haunted hospital in Greystone, where he and a friend witnessed a ghost and allegedly one was possessed by it. The movie is a horror thriller. Director Corin Hardy. The Nun is one of the many entities encountered by the famous psychics and paranormal investigators, the Warrens couple.